This is an explanation of the nutrition education lesson as well as the handout that you will design to go along with the lesson. So instead of doing a lesson in person, this will be an explanation of your outline for your video, which we will be doing instead of any in-person lessons. So you will create this lesson plan alone, but it should go along with your group members' videos as well. So this template ultimately serves as an outline for your 8 to 10-minute video that will be done at the end of the semester. And it'll cover everything that you will review in this assignment. So this should be pretty detailed, as it should be close to a script for your upcoming video. So the piece of this that connects then with your group members is that ultimately there should be a common thread between all of your videos. So consider how this could be like a series. So it could be either a cooking series where maybe lesson 1 shows someone how to use equipment in their kitchen. And remember to keep this as simple as possible, because if our audience is college students, then we need to consider what college students might have either in their dorm rooms or apartments. It could be even a cooking series aimed at dorm rooms in which they just have a microwave, for example. So keep it as simple as possible, um, and we will utilize foods that someone could get like in an emergency food box, canned goods. Think about the food that's in the Pitchfork pantry. If you did a cooking video, um, consider any of the other issues that came up during your previous assignments, because those could be concerns that you bring up in your videos as well. So that brings us to the background information. So ultimately, you'll put your individual answers in this, but feel free to work with your group members on this. And you can have the same answers for these sections, but you will submit this alone. So think about what you saw when you did your asset map that would help support the need for this education. Think about what you saw in your needs assessment. So go back to that very first assignment. And then think about what you're seeing in your literature reviews that would be valuable for you to focus on with this population. So you don't have to do a cooking series. You could focus on other items as well. So up to you and your group. And even if one person did a cooking video, someone else could do something, a different piece of that. So you could still, within your series, connect everything, but not everyone would have to cook necessarily. So this first part is just a snapshot of your video. So come up with a fun lesson title, put your name, put the campus ultimately that you're focusing on. Our participants are college students, so I put that in there. The type of learning activity, this comes more into play when you're doing maybe an in-person lesson, but ultimately you could be doing a cooking demo. You might do some other hands-on activity, up to you. Then in this section, you're going to come up with one objective for your particular video. And note, really important on objectives is what people will be able to do by the end of the video. So participants will be able to cook a simple recipe using 2 to 3 ingredients. Not participants will know things about low-cost cooking, because knowledge is it's just out there. It's not very specific. So we need something specific that they will be able to do. So just one objective. And this is one objective per group member ultimately, because you're doing this part alone. So think about your video and what you want your participants to come away with. In the material section, list out everything you could possibly need to get this project done. So you'll need a phone, you'll need maybe a kitchen, you'll need a oven top, you'll need a pot, a pan, a spoon, a can of beans. Just be very specific. The reference section, just include everything that you use to help you complete this lesson plan. Again, does not need to be an AMA style. This video outline, this is where it pretty much gets into your exact script. So include as many details as you can here. So this is your video intro. Think about how you're going to draw your audience in. So that's really important between your intro and your icebreaker. So really try to get to your audience there. This activity section, this is really the bulk of your video. So the key objective, go back to what you put in this section, this learning objective here, bring it back, put it down here, and then you're going to detail exactly how your participants are going to get that objective. So this is your main script for your video lesson, so I need lots of details here. So note this is worth 10 points. This is worth the most points of any section, so lots and lots of details. You can look at the examples online. Note that they had a slightly different, they were doing an in-person lesson, but still will give you an idea. At the very end of your video, think about how you can have a follow-up piece. So if you did a lesson, if people follow your video, should they take a picture? Should they do a hashtag? You can make up a hashtag, just have fun with it. Think about how you could get that follow-up piece. And then community resources. So go back to your asset map. Think about whether you're at the downtown or the Tempe campus and list 2 community resources that would be available to students. So particularly during the time that we're in now, but 2 community resources and explain why you're listing each one of them. So that is part 1. Part 2 is to create a handout for your lesson. So when I do in-person lessons, if I give out a handout, I refer to that handout throughout the lesson. I don't just give it to them at the end and have them walk away with it, because typically then it just goes in the garbage can. So think about like what you do, like if you're walking through like a health fair and everyone has handouts on their tables, but by the end of it, you look at it, you're like, well, I don't know why I took this in the first place. So we want this handout to link participants directly to your video and help them remember what you talked about. So Canva is a really nice free online tool that can create some really pretty handouts. Or if there's something else that you like using, you can use that. So if you're doing a cooking video, it could be a recipe with instructions and then ways to take kind of next steps in their cooking. If you're doing a different topic, just very simple bullet pointed concepts. Keep it very, very simple. Nice visuals. Think about what draws you to a handout. Like it shouldn't be super busy, but it should get your message across. You may include some hyperlinks if there's other resources you want to link them to, but you are writing and creating this yourself. Do not cut and paste something from a handout that already exists. You'll also do the reading level. So include a screenshot of the reading level. So if you're in Word, you go to Preferences, you go to Spelling and Grammar, and then click on Show Readability Statistics. Make sure that is clicked off, then you X out of that. And then when you do your spelling and grammar check, that box I have here shows up at the very end. There we go. So then you would take a screenshot of that. So if you're writing text in Canva, you can cut and paste it into a Word document, and then you can get this box. There's also tools online that will give you the grade level statistics, so you can look for those as well. but our goal is to keep it at the 5th grade level or below, because this is good just for general populations to consider keeping the reading level low and simple. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics came up with this checklist that they go through when they're evaluating nutrition education handouts. I simplified it a little bit. Originally, there was 20 items, but for our purposes, I took out the key pieces here. So review those. And then you can also look at the grading rubric here at the end.